Welcome back to the 950 Club.
Hi, Marley.
Well,
that's right.
Before we get to the negative,
We have to welcome the newest member of the 950 Club,
Marley
Johnson. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How did you clone yourself is what everyone wants to know. Because she looks just like you.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
the same eyes, the same smile, the same
The
look.
same hairline.
And no, I hope her hairline ain't like mine. No, man, it's been a long journey. So, I'm just glad she's here. Everybody has been very supportive. So thank you to you guys, especially you guys have always been supportive. And, all the other people that's been supportive of me, like our friends of the podcast that reached out, like Saya reached out to me on Instagram. George reached out to me on Instagram.
Grayson.
We've been into, so and everybody that, Alberto and Kevin and Simon and Kyle, everybody's just been very supportive. And, I'm thankful for all of you. Yeah. So, she's here. She's happy. She's healthy. Christina would not allow me to bring her here today.
Our first formal
Right? That would have been awesome.
No, I mean, she's still, she had an appointment on Friday, and she is in the 4th percentile in terms of weight for kids. So she's still very, very small.
Okay, so not exactly March or Dimes.
I guess they have some sort of car seat test, and if you're too small, then you gotta get a special car seat that goes a special way. She was literally 1 ounce above the cutoff line.
Oh wow!
She was right there. So she's full term, but she's kind of premature size.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
My friend and my aunt, they had preemies. Oh yeah, it's a different beast.
Yeah, it was a preemie.
Huh? Oh, you were? Wow, I never knew that. And,
yeah.
How many months?
Oh, I don't remember.
Wow.
That's a long time ago.
7 months, and my aunt was 6 or 7. Yeah, remarkable. And she was old too, older, past her 40s.
Okay.
But it was an employment. It was kind of a moment where something was happening that was meant to be kind of moment. Because that was me when I was born.
I tell everybody this, it feels normal.
Okay, because it was a C-section.
It always felt normal to me. There was no C-section.
Oh, okay.
There was no C-section. She had to get induced because she had, I don't know what it's called, intrauterine growth, whatever.
My sister was C-section.
She stopped growing after a certain amount of time, which was kind of on brand. Because Christina has a thing where she likes food, she'll get it all the time. There was a time when she went to when she got into White Castle, and every weekend she's ordering a case of White Castle.
Oh wow!
Dang.
And so
that's prego food.
And my thing with her is always don't get it all the time because then you'll never want to eat it again.
Yeah.
And she keeps doing it to herself.
I think that was my sister with pickles.
And I think that's what happened with Marley. I think she was just I've had enough of this. Get me out of here so I can get something else.
Oh, man.
Enough with the White Castle.
That's cute.
So it's funny. You got to see whether or not Marley likes White Castle or whether she can't stand it because.
That White Castle, that happened before she got pregnant.
Wow.
Okay.
So
what was it like?
And it's funny because right after she stopped going, that White Castle closed down.
Oh.
I said you were the only one keeping that White Castle open.
Yep.
Well, I think I know which White Castle you're talking about too. Yeah. I passed it by a few times.
Yeah.
My mom did the watermelon Jolly Ranchers.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I love watermelon. That was my thing. But a lot of people do that where they'll eat something to the point where it's no, not anymore.
Me with Cheerios.
That's how she is with everything.
Wow.
There's certain things where she'll be like she did that with crab boils.
Okay.
She did
Very distinct.
But like she like once she finds something that she likes.
And this is why she
she'll
was
go-
pregnant, or that's just part of
That's
her.
just who she is.
Oh, okay.
Or demeanor.
Like she'll like if she likes it, she's going to get it all the time.
Yeah.
But then there's certain things where it's like there's certain things like she will like find the restraint and be like, I will only get this on certain special occasions.
Okay.
Otherwise, like I'll get tired of it and I don't want to.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But like that's how she is. That's how she is. What was the recent thing? Some sort of candy or something.
Or anything Mitsuwa.
Whatever. Mitsuwa is like she'll go there.
She got that
She'll walk
fried
there.
egg. I was pretty impressed. That was the first time I tried it.
She did get the fried egg. She loves that fried egg.
Dang.
Fried egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got like
I forget the name of
they'll
it.
do a hard boiled egg
Oh, then bread it
and then bread it in the tempura batter.
My introduction
nice.
to Benedict's.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's good, man. Happy, healthy.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to visit her, but we're just like we literally have no space.
Yeah.
We have no space.
If I remember, it was May 3rd that she was born, right?
Second. 7:48 on May 2nd.
Thursday. Yeah. Or no, Wednesday. Wednesday then.
It was Thursday.
Gotcha.
She got induced on Wednesday,
Okay.
There you go.
but she didn't come out till Thursday.
Oh, there you go. That's a wonderful day.
Wonderful day. Like, so we're recording this. This is Rican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
Anything's going on right now.
Anime Central is going on right now, and that kind of like holds a special place because I think that's the first convention you guys took me to.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm not going to be able to make it. Are you guys going this weekend?
I don't think I'm going to make
I
it.
can't.
Yeah.
I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
I did a survey of the artists there, and they're wonderful artists. They had Jesus Kaisen cast, English cast there. I was this close. But Combo Breaker, which is 2 weeks later, or a week later, it's the smaller alley, but man, these are like artists I haven't seen, and they're like first time doing cons in like over 10 years. Can't leave that dry. So
Yeah.
it was an investment decision on my part.
It's unfortunate just because they're so close together.
Yeah.
Because you had C2E2 that was really about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago at all.
It was almost a month, yeah. And
Yeah.
I went to that.
It was at the end of April. It was the last weekend of April.
Yes.
So that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It didn't feel crowded. I went on a Friday.
That's because you went Friday.
in the afternoon.
Let me
too.
tell you.
Yeah.
Saturday was insane.
I bet.
I had to. There were times where, like, look, I don't have a good sense of smell, but let me tell you, there was enough people in there where the stank got through. And I had to get out of those aisles because it's like between the body heat and the smell, I'm like, I cannot walk through Artist Alley right now because I need to go sit down. This is making me nauseous.
That is the one thing about conventions that I like. That's the biggest downfall to them. People just smell, yo. And it's bad because that's the stereotype of like
Yeah,
a
it
convention
is.
goer.
It really is.
But then you go and you're like, they all are smelly and stinky.
That's one of the
It's
That's one of the
bad.
realities that nobody tells you about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Like I would take people, like we would, when we first started going to Wizard World, I would take some of my cousins, Coffrey or Sir or Gabriel or like my other cousin Anthony. They would stay over the house. I'm like, all right, all you taking a shower. You're all changing your drawers. You're all changing your socks. You're all taking a shower. Because I'm not going in there with stinky people.
Right.
We're not gonna be the
We're
stereotype.
not going to be those.
No. But that said, walking around in a crowd in August, you're gonna sweat. But you try your best to not, be offensive.
Bring some deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Do something.
these are people buying $400 like figurines and shit like that.
Still,
Just spare
dog.
$5.
Still,
Yeah.
Still, like if you're wearing a big costume,
Well, that's
I
a different
can-
story.
I'll give you.
That's
some
maneuvering. That's maneuvering.
I'll give you
And
some.
you could do
I'll
anything.
I'll
with
give you
that.
some leeway. If
Yeah.
you're just an average schmo wearing a t-shirt and shorts, wash your balls, man.
That too.
Yeah.
Come on, dog.
And with Chicago, around this time, humidity is just climbing up. You gotta get prepared.
There's no excuse for stank.
Now, Jack, I want to ask you
yourself.
something about this year's C2. I didn't see that much cosplay.
That's the thing. And
Yeah.
that's why I felt like it
I
was
was
smaller.
kind of disappointed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people did those weekend passes where okay, I'll do a cosplay on Saturday.
I was talking to Coffrey actually because the company that he does artwork, the comic book that he does artwork.
I want to apologize to Coffrey because I did go past that stand, but he wasn't there.
Okay. Yeah, he was trying to.
Yeah, my nephew was there. He was impatient. I'm like, all right.
He was trying to enjoy the convention, I think, this year as much as possible.
Okay, cool.
And so he wasn't at the booth very much.
Yeah.
But he did stop by there. But he told me that everything had gotten more expensive, and that there were fewer vendors. And I noticed it too.
Yeah.
Alberto said that too. He
Yeah.
said he was very disappointed in the vendors.
Yeah,
this year.
there was a lot less. Like,
That's what he said. He said there was a lot less, and there was a lot of like repeats.
I was on the hunt for Lego minifigures, and I remember in previous years, I was on the hunt for one specific Lego minifigure, and
Henry bought it.
huh?
Henry.
I
Bought
think Henry did buy it. Henry took it.
Len. God damn it, Len. Get Henry over here.
Yep, he took it, and like I was like, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
But like, no, they didn't have like they used to have like 2 or 3, and
Right.
they didn't this year. And Coffrey told me that like the guy whose booth he was working at, $2,000, and yeah, for that booth, and it wasn't like one of the larger ones,
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're a vendor, and you got to FedEx or you got to find some way to get all your merchandise to the convention floor, you got to make sure that you cover your costs.
Right.
You got to make sure that you're covering that $2,000. You're making, I'm sure they make more than that, but it's like how much profit is going to make you come all the way out here,
Right.
pay that much money. What are you going to walk away with?
Yeah,
You know?
Because not only you got to cover the cost of the booth, you got to cover the cost of, like you said, the product getting delivered there, transporting that there, transporting it. It could,
Yeah,
it could
and
rise up.
C2E2 last couple of years after the pandemic, I can understand the pandemic, but even before that, just before that, when I first was introduced, it was usually February, March, consistently. But then after
Well,
COVID,
that's because that's COVID. I think McCormick Place and COVID kind of like are destroying C2E2.
yeah, as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
because like the parking got up to 20, and then it got up to 21. I'm like, oh, it'll be 22 this year. No, it went
jumped up
straight
to like
to 25.
Yeah, it went to 25, 30.
It just went straight to 25. Then they were telling you, oh, why didn't you pay in advance? I'm like, no one said I needed to pay in advance. Like I paid with a card too,
Okay.
but they were like, well, why didn't you pay in advance? I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to. It was very
Confusing.
strange. It was
Okay,
very
okay.
confusing.
Yeah.
It was very strange. It was very different. Like I actually ended up parking in one of the convention halls.
Okay.
Well, like I think the old one that they used, it was the smaller one where
I think it's the A
C2E2
building.
first showed up.
I think
it
it's
could
the
have
A
been.
building.
Yeah, it could have been.
Everyone parks at the B.
Because I think that's where C2E2 had first been held. No, like I was literally inside.
That's what I
of,
mean.
Like,
That's the only thing I can
yeah,
think
because
of.
they had like where they have like little restaurant level.
Yes,
Like
yes.
I was parked next to one of those, and like the bathrooms, and I'm like, I'm parked on a show floor. It was really weird, but yeah, and then you had to walk back normally into the regular one, and that's where C2E2 happened. But it concerns me because it's like I've seen conventions die, and I'm like, oh, C2E2, don't die.
Yeah, I don't want it to die, but I don't know if McCormick Place is the venue for it.
Well,
I don't think so either.
I don't.
It just feels too small. It feels too small for C2E2 now. I think it's getting too expensive for C2E2.
Yeah.
It needs to change. It can't keep being what it was, I think. Like a friendly, like
fan hangout.
Yeah, like a big Chicago hangout in the middle of April for geeks to like go and
Exactly.
like let their hair down and party.
100%.
Yeah, it just felt like more of a cash grab.
Yeah.
Everything felt more expensive.
Inflation, of course. Yeah.
Well, inflation doesn't account for a $25.
No, but it's
parking,
greed. It's
jumping.
Greed. It's greed.
I think it's more greed. Yeah, I think it's greed.
But more in a sense of like this year, I had a budget. I used cash. You could a lot of places still had required you had to use card. That's it. No cash. Okay, understandable. But the Wi-Fi usually goes down.
The Wi-Fi was
terrible.
terrible.
That's the thing.
Wi-Fi's terrible.
ASEN was advertising their tickets for a weekend pass, and I'm like, oh, dude, that'll be awesome. Literally next to that booth, Wi-Fi was crap ass. So I'm like, I can't even do my data too.
Well, we couldn't call. Like I was texting people and it was taking them like half an hour to get my text messages. Like I literally waited in front of Artist Alley for half an hour for everybody to show up because I had texted them like, I'm gonna wait here. I texted Alberto, I texted Caffrey, I texted my sister. I'm waiting for everybody. Half an hour, my feet were killing me. I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna move. I'm gonna go. I gotta either sit down or keep moving because if not, my feet are gonna fall off. And so I went and like they were like, I finally got everybody's messages like, where are you? We're trying to find you. This and that. Are you getting these texts? I'm like, no, I'm not getting them. Like Caffrey. Finally, I found Caffrey. We sat next to each other eating something. I'm like, I'm going to text you. You let me know when you got the text message. He didn't get it till 2 hours later when he got home. I'm like, that's insane. That's insane. That's just like if I texted you here.
Yeah. Well, if I may ask, the positive side, what was the loot they got?
So I actually didn't get that much because like I was on a severe budget.
And plus you were on one day too.
Yeah, it was one day. It was in the middle of the paychecks. So I'm like, I had like $100 budget for the day.
You weren't as prepared this year.
No, nowhere near as prepared. Like stuff just came up. Like there's stuff from last year financially that came up.
Of course.
So I didn't have a big budget this year, but I found some really good deals. I got like some Black Series figures, some Star Wars Black Series figures that I wanted. I got a Spam poster.
Really? Yeah, you do like your Spam.
Well, it's a can of Spam. Like the little slices, like kind of flying out, but with sakura flowers.
Oh, cute!
Oh, okay,
yeah. So it's very fancy. Very fancy. I got some stickers. I got some stuff for my friend, like some bookmarks. I got a Ninja Turtle bookmark, and what did I get her? Ahsoka.
Oh, phenomenal!
So I got some stuff here and there for everybody. But it was a lot. I had fun. I still had fun. I still had fun walking through Artist Alley. One of those strange things is like there wasn't as much superhero art. A lot of it was anime and manga compared to
yes. Compared to 10 years
ago. I would
ago.
expect more superhero stuff.
No. This is the full cycle. Because
I think so.
Because 10 years ago, I was more inclined with anime than Marvel. And granted, this is near Endgame. This is near Infinity War.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but where's Neon Genesis? Where's this and that? Where's Full Metal?
Now it's there.
It's there.
It's there now. Maybe not for those classic anime.
Video games is like the in-betweener. The video game ratio is
You'll see some video game. Like, they still had stuff like pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw a lot more booths that would have been comfortable.
Another one.
That would have been comfortable. That would have fit right in at ASIN or Anime Midwest.
And another one I've noticed a little bit more and more. I think it's going to be halfway there. Horror. A lot of horror.
Okay, I didn't notice as much.
Yeah, at least for when I noticed for Fan Expo and Anime Central, I'm like, it's popping
like
up.
I have a lot of my favorite, and I kind of felt bad for Caffrey because I know he's got a lot of work that he's produced over the years that he's still trying to sell. But there was a lot of these bigger artists, and now like Frank Cho.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And now I'm blanking on the rest of them, and I'm sorry,
right.
But I will try to remember them later for Instagram. But there was a lot of artists where it's like, all right, I want to buy your art, but you haven't done anything new.
I had to take pictures, make sure.
Yeah,
for newer ones at least.
Yeah, well, I'm like, all right. There's like Frank Cho had like 1 or 2 new prints. One of them I wasn't like in love with, but then there was another one where I'm like, I really love this print, but will I love it like in a year from now?
Right.
Because the character, like, I like the design of the print, I like his artwork, but I'm like, it's his own character from this comic called Liberty Meadows. Yeah. And so he had her there with like the duck and the dog and whatever. And I'm like, that's a really cool print. I really like that. That's the only new one that I see here. I don't want that. And I kept running into that. Like, I ran into the guy who he did the Samurai Jack.
Yes.
He did Batman animated. I like actually bought one of his Powderpuff Girls prints for my friend, but he didn't have anything new. And I'm like, I want to give you more money.
Unfortunately,
but yeah, it's
gonna break your heart. I didn't buy anything from Zuello.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them just didn't have new stuff.
No, it is what it is.
And I get it. I get that they're like they have prints from years before that they still want to sell down, and they figure it's a new crowd. But it's like I've been going to these things for like 20 years, so it's like I know. And not only do I know you, it's like I know your work. And I have all these prints, and I'm like, there's nothing left for me to buy.
Yeah. Iron Pinky, it's like a ritual to meet him, and he had newer stuff. He knows the system.
Yeah.
You just you had to update with times.
Yeah.
He had I'm trying to think of one recent animes he did. Street Fighter in general. He updates with new characters.
Well, you remember Art Lucia?
Yes.
Like he had new stuff, but none of it was as compelling as his other stuff. But I bought a sticker from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a sticker from him.
Mostly I did like in betweens. My nephew bought charms. Those are like the most expensive ones. Charms are fucking expensive.
Oh man, I saw there was a Soundwave keychain.
Okay.
Oh my god, it was Soundwave's torso.
Yeah.
But then it was like, so on a hook, it had little charms where it had all of the little ground pounders.
Yeah.
And then Ravage and then Laserbeak. And I said, that's an awesome keychain. But if I put that on my keys, it's going to fucking break in a week. And I'm like, how much is that? He's like, it's 25. And I'm like, that's out of my budget right now.
Yeah.
But that was really cool.
Well, one I would say in this, when I start our segue into this show, X-Men. I did see the voice actors there.
Very nice.
Yeah, I wish I would have had extra money for that. They had original Rogue, original Jubilee, original Wolverine.
Wow.
Yeah, and original Wolverine did 97, and
My sister got speaking of the 90s, my sister got a photo with Freddie Prinze Jr.
oh, cute.
Really?
Yeah. Because he was one of the voice actors on Rebels.
That and
He played Kanan.
They did like a mini reunion with She's All That, I believe.
Oh, they did, I think.
With the girl, yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah. I think I did see that they did a She's All That.
And the
thing.
biggest one was Christopher Lloyd, our recent guest, B. She met him with her cousin.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, with the DeLorean. Yes.
Yeah, you could get pictures. I don't know how much that was costing, but
Worth
yeah.
it. I would have done Roger Rabbit for sure.
Nice.
You're gonna die. Like I would have done the voice of the villain. He'd have been like, "Nice try."
All right, Jack, you wanted to segue into X-Men 97. Okay, go ahead.
Me and Jamaal have finished it. Edwin, where have you left off?
I'm at like episode 6, but go ahead because
Whoa, you haven't even gotten to the good part yet.
the good part, man, because like episode 5, I thought was going to be the end of it with like the attack on Genosha, but I'm like, oh my god,
That's where I don't want to spoil too much with the listener.
It's over. It's
well, hear
Yeah,
me
that's
for
fine.
Edwin as well.
I get
for
it.
Edwin as well,
Yeah.
because you saw that part, that first spoiler. Okay.
episode 7. It gets real too.
Oh, I can imagine. This show manages to pull off something that a lot of like, whether it be movies, TV shows, or animated series, I'm talking about everybody. This show manages to pull off something that I haven't seen very much of.
A seamless reboot sequel. A seamless.
Well,
seamless.
Not only that, but it gives you the intensity that you feel when you're reading the comic.
Yeah.
And originally watching the cartoons.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going back to my 6 or 7 year old self being like, ooh, this is important.
Yeah, but also like as an adult,
Yes,
you could be
yes.
like, and like whether it be the themes of alienation, the themes of segregation, of
Discrimination.
discrimination.
Absolutely.
But then this show makes you like the first few episodes are a little like,
Catching
all
up.
right, these are the comics,
Catching up.
But as it moves on, it's like you can feel that building, that prejudice and the hatred and those schemes and conspiracies that are behind the scenes.
And it's always been there since the 90s.
The tension really comes through the TV.
It really
It
does.
really
in a
comes
way
through.
that like I don't think a lot of shows about comic book heroes. I think not since like the animated series Batman, you get that level of like.
Yeah, well, it made me think of the original series watching it, and those things were over my head. It was just mutants versus mutants, and humanity just on side. But this one's like, no, this is relevant. It's always been like this, Jack. Welcome to the club.
Well, like in the 90s when this show was airing, like I was in high school. Like I had been reading comics for a long time, especially X-Men comics.
Oh yeah,
And I just love that they continued. Oh yeah, these are the stories that they're just continuing on with the stories.
and the
from
original
90s.
series was made in the 70s,
Yeah.
60s, and it's been there since day one.
Well, these are stories. The stories that they're working on now were stories that like are moving into the 90s. Stories that they did like they're just continuing on as if the series never stopped.
Right.
But they're still borrowing from the comic book.
Yeah,
Where Magneto took over the X-Men and where like
the first swerve.
yeah. But the whole Genosha, the death of Gambit, I was just like, what the? Yeah,
It was a beautiful death.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful death.
Yeah, that was beautiful death.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with him, the whole triangle with him and Rogue and Magneto.
Oh man, that was like I didn't realize. I thought that the Jean Wolverine Scott thing.
Yeah.
It played out.
Was going to be the thing.
It played out. That's what I liked about
Logan
this.
was like, all right, look, he's like, I know that
Right.
you're with this guy,
He
so
he accepted what it is.
It's my favorite Wolverine, not going to lie.
yeah. But it was really Gambit, Rogue, and Magneto that stole the show and like really like
And Gambit was
pulled at your heartstrings.
Yeah, and Gambit was barely there. Just that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Jubilee. Like every character had like their sweet spot moment.
Yeah.
None of them got overbearing. Whereas the original series, fucking Wolverine.
I thought they did it.
As much as I love him, he was like, oh, too much.
Well, he seems kind of like a background character in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, he was very much a background character.
Yeah.
Like in this show, it seemed like they felt like what's his name? Bo DeMaio? Is that his name? The dude that wrote it?
Oh, the original. Okay.
No, that wrote this, 97. I think it's Bo
Was he
DeMaio.
the one that I was meaning to ask you guys that. Was he the one that was ousted before the premiere?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Which, given the quality of the work, it has to be a little
High
questionable as to like.
I think I read they said he was difficult to work with or something, which is what they always say about
It's
people.
Disney.
Yeah.
Disney.
But somebody who delivered this caliber of
This
like,
is high quality.
They
And
just didn't want it to be
I
too
know,
high.
like they asked him, like, all right, spoiler. So at the end, there's a mini controversy that you may have already heard about. So at the end, there's an appearance by Black Panther. Right? Did you hear about this, Edwin?
I hadn't heard about.
Okay.
Okay.
So
It's
there's
one
an
of the
appearance-
Well, they had Captain America show
Yeah,
up, so
there's many cameos.
All right, so let me get this. So he makes an appearance, but it's T'Chaka instead of T'Challa.
okay.
And people were mad about that. And one person tweeted, like, why is, because I guess the MCU doesn't really want to show T'Challa anymore since Chadwick Boseman died,
The
Which
likeness.
honoring that,
which
I
is
think
honoring
is
that.
like, yeah.
But then fans were like, why is that impacting this? Like, this should have been T'Challa. But like I guess Bo DeMaio liked the thing and like made a comment. He didn't say anything, but he was basically saying like, yeah, that's what happened here. It should have been T'Challa, but they wouldn't let me do it. Which is like, if this were part of the MCU, I would understand. But this is like, all of this stuff is taking place way before any of that. This is a totally different thing. You could have had T'Challa there, and it would have been just fine.
Well, I mean, if you just go like if you decide to go by timeline, then maybe T'Challa wasn't the Black Panther yet.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking too. Like his father. Yeah.
Maybe
You could go with that.
Only thing I
but
think.
I understand retiring T'Challa because of Chadwick Boseman. I get that, and so I'm like,
It's like Christopher Reeve was Superman.
I get it too.
Yeah,
I
like-
get it too. But I'm just there was a controversy with fans about that.
I get it.
And
I
so-
understand the controversy. I understand where Disney's coming from in that creative choice.
Yeah,
Honoring his memory by by not
retiring the character.
I get that. I'm kind of okay with that. I'll say yes and no.
Yeah,
I'll say yes and no
I
because
can see it either way.
yeah, because I could see that as honoring him and like not wanting anyone else to be in that role. I understand that, but I'll also say that the character existed before him,
Yes,
and the character I think should exist after him because
It will.
Yeah,
It's just
because
time.
I think
we're just in the.
I think
growing
it's
time.
kind of like that's a hard one to call because it's like it does honor the memory of like
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman, who was beloved as T'Challa.
one of the best.
Very-
Yeah,
yeah.
which one of the best performances in the MCU.
In general,
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
general, even beyond Marvel. Yeah.
And then but it's like for the people that love Black Panther, it's like how do you tell them, hey, look, he's not gonna
Right.
he's not gonna be in anything going forward.
Unfortunately,
That's
yeah.
kind of like a
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And for that to come, and it's kind of weird for that controversy to pop up in like an X-Men comic when the X-Men aren't even in part of the
Yeah.
MCU yet.
Right.
Well, they add into themes,
Exactly.
the overall themes of how relevant they are today, even more so than prior.
Well, I think that if you're going to go, I think Black Panther actually works more as a relevant theme for the X-Men
100%.
than
Yeah.
Captain America.
It meshes well. Yeah.
Yeah. Though I did like the inclusion of Captain America and the way that he interacted, like the dialogue and the scenes between him and Rogue.
That was good. That was
I
a cute
thought
little
that
scene.
was like,
Yeah.
I like that as well.
yeah.
I like that as well.
And hey, it's also a fresh reminder that Rogue can kick But
Dude, she was. Well, I like this show because you have a lot of the X-Men. I felt in the original series, sometimes you just feel like the X-Men are sitting out.
Storm's
Yeah.
the classic example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I wanted to say about this show. I felt like they spent a lot of time redeeming some of those other characters like Storm, like Rogue. Like I think he intentionally went in redeeming those characters and bringing them to the forefront. And that's why you have like a Wolverine kind of like on the sideline.
Well, I think
because he is more established.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Wolverine got so much play
Yeah.
that it kind of overwhelmed and kind of like
over 8 movies, and they're gonna have a Deadpool movie now.
Because I think in the comics you get everybody.
Yeah.
Like you'll get Rogue story and you'll get Storm story, and I don't think that played out as much. Like they might get an episode or two in, like, I know with Storm, like in the Shadow King in the original series, like that was her thing.
Yeah.
But then it would go back to Wolverine. And what is Wolverine doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Professor X. What are those two doing? And it's kind of like on Star Trek: The Next Generation, Picard and Data. Everybody loves Picard and Data, so let's focus on them. But this show really, really like brings everybody kind of to the foreground.
Yeah.
And shows them, and it shows you like, look, you can't mess around with the X-Men. Like they're not; these people are. You need to take them seriously.
And they're conflicted now too, so they're even more like, it's becoming more.
Well, I think even Scott, who was kind of like made to be the Boy Scout,
the diplomat.
Yeah, but in this one, he's a more complicated character.
Mad. He's mad.
Far more complicated. Like he was kind of annoying in the original.
In the original,
X-Men.
you like Wolverine more. It's just how it is.
Yeah, he was very annoying in the original. In this one, they kind of redeemed him a bit.
Yeah,
They redeemed.
well, it's like you
him
said.
a
I think
bit.
everybody gets their moment to shine, and they're way more complex.
Yeah.
Than they were.
Yeah.
Like it was Rogue and Gambit. That's what you got. It wasn't like there was no triangles. There was no.
Right.
But I think the introduction of this gave all of them more depth and more
agree.
and humanized them way more than the original, which was like. I was kind of surprised because at first, for the first few episodes, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to get as deep as it does.
It has like the beats, the cliffhanger beats, like, oh, now Magneto owns now Sinister took over the school. Then, and then Jean Grey had like two or three swords. I'm a clone? I had a baby? So.
It was
there's
kind
a
of
lot
like a
of
soft reintroduction.
Yeah.
That's the way I took it.
And then it takes
before
off.
he really got into the story.
And he really does. There's a lot of meat there.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat there, man. He left no stone unturned. Like everybody had something. Nightcrawler had something to do. Jean Grey had something.
Yeah,
Like, everybody had. Professor X had something. Everybody had something, and they were all connected to this story. He did a phenomenal job with this, man. A phenomenal. This is one of the better Disney Plus things that they've done.
Adaptation
for sure.
Yeah.
And like they're rebooting the movies. Fine. I hope it takes this kind of tone and not the typical Disney MCU tone where it's like more comic, more funny, like haha. Like I like this. I like this serious tone with X-Men.
And apparently it's going to be the director of Black Panther, Cooley.
Well,
Coogler is doing.
Coogler.
I like that. I
think so.
I like that it's serious without being dark.
Yeah.
Especially with Morph, especially with Wolverine.
It is very serious, but it's dark. It's definitely dark, but it's not like bringing you down dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's you feel for these people.
Yeah.
Dark. It's like they're going through
sympathy.
Yeah, they're going through some stuff.
Especially especially Magneto, like that scene where Genosha, he saved that one unit and is like, it's gonna be okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
They're presenting Magneto in a different light than we usually see him in.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And he's far more sympathetic.
I like that you can still buy him as the villain though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The intro.
This isn't like
the intro in general. Yeah.
They didn't make him a saint. Like this isn't Saint Magneto. Yeah. This is just like, you know what, Charles was,
Charles is a dick.
Yeah.
But he's a good dick.
Like, you know what? My friend made an argument. He sacrificed himself for that argument. I will carry on for him. Like my friend has died it's changed. It's reminded me of like the promises that we made, the things that we talked about,
The idealistic
the
days.
things, the things that he stood for, and like he's affected by. He's been affected by, and his thinking has changed because of what's happened. Now, when they, elected him as like essentially the king of Genosha, I was like,
The villain side was just there.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if this is the right decision here.
no, it's like, don't tempt this man with
And then
power.
he had characters like Wolverine be like, this bub.
Yeah, but in the moment of crisis, like he still kind of came through.
He stepped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still
stepped
kind of
up.
came through. Yeah.
Because of the intro, it was always back in my mind. Like, they're going to clash. It's always it's like poetry in motion. They're always going to fight.
You give him credit because he tried his best to buy in.
Yeah.
He tried his best. He was like, all right, he left me this.
Turn the other cheek.
I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to honor him and do this his way. And then Genosha happens, and he's like,
Nope,
see,
can't do it.
Same
Yeah.
shit.
I told
Different
you.
story.
I told you.
Yeah. But then he's not given time to process.
Right.
He's not given time to like become Magneto again and get his revenge. He becomes a pawn now.
Yeah.
And so can you guys like fill me in on that? Because
First of all, I want to say, like, so I put in like over 100 hours on Midnight Suns, and like one of the shirts that you can get, it says Magneto was right.
Fucking
okay.
A. Full review. You're almost done with that game?
Yeah, I have one main mission left.
Still impressive.
I have one main mission left, but I'm like, I just like the
so
game.
did you like it?
Yeah, I like.
Okay, cool.
I wasn't going to spend money on it.
Was it one of the free games?
It's a free game of the month.
Oh, okay.
Or not a free game of the month. It's like a PlayStation Plus free game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I played the demo months ago, and I was like, okay, I like this, because Jack got me on XCOM, and so
Turn based, yo.
it's turn based, and I've read articles like it's a good game, it's fun. But some people, like, I guess they keep blaming, like, they're trying to figure out like why it didn't do as well as they thought it should have.
The gaming economy is fickle now. They said the same thing with Rebirth, and everyone bought Rebirth.
Yeah, I think it's a very good game, but a lot of people just aren't into the turn-based thing. Like XCOM, I think, was kind of like a anomaly.
Well, and there's Iron Mode, and people go for it's like you have to play it in a certain mode kind of thing.
Yeah, I just don't think the concept works with superheroes.
Okay.
I think when people want to play with superheroes, they kind of want to do the
free for all, brawl.
yeah. What's the
Or Wolverine.
what's the game?
Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ultimate
okay.
Alliance.
Yeah.
They want an Ultimate Alliance type game. They don't.
Final Fantasy new battle mechanics are
Yeah.
similar.
They want an Ultimate Alliance type game or like a fighter Marvel vs. Capcom type game. I don't think they want like a turn-based game with superheroes. And I
Yeah.
think that's where the problem was.
It's just an new introduction.
But as a game, I really enjoyed playing it. It's really fun. Once you like understand the card system and like how this works and everything, it's a fun game, and the storyline, it kind of like after a while I'm like, all right, skip. I want to get to the fun stuff.
if there's too much dialogue.
There is a lot of dialogue. It's worth playing if it's free.
Okay.
I think if they would have went that style where it's like, this is a free game and you just pay for the content upgrades of like, here's some new characters, here's some new thing, I think it would have done a lot better with that plan.
So like the Overwatch model.
Yeah, I think it would have done better with the Overwatch model.
Okay. Yeah.
I think with the traditional model with this game, I don't think it worked. But I suggest playing it. Jack, definitely you.
Yeah.
And I think, Edwin, I think you'd get something out of it too.
Rebirth. I'm almost done. I'm halfway there.
I think you'd get something out of it too.
Yeah, I've got. I'm still trying to finish Hogwarts Legacy. I still have the second Jedi Fallen Order game that I'm playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about modern gaming nowadays. I just want to enjoy my time. It was like back in the day in 64, it's like 1 month. You can rent it from Blockbuster. I'll try it. That's my month right there. It's 12 months a year.
Well, some of these games, it's like an hour isn't going to get you very far.
Right.
Especially Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
No.
it's like you play this game for an hour. It's like you got to devote 2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
to actually get anywhere in these games. And it's like, when do you have the time? Divided between like everything that you have to do as an adult and then all your other hobbies, or whether you're reading, watching anime or TV shows. It's
X-Men
like,
97.
yeah, it gets to the point where you're like, wait, do I have do I have 2 or 3 hours to devote to one game? And if you're gonna, like you said, like Jamaal, if you put in 100 hours, it's like that's most of your gaming time.
Yeah,
so you have to decide.
I can't split. I play one game at a time. Now,
Yeah.
dude. Like because like I can't split between that and watching anime and watching a basketball game and a fight and everything.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm like, I'll play one game. I only play like on my days off.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm only playing on my days off. I'll get my time in then, and then the rest of the time I could devote to like, all right, I could watch anime for an hour or two here. I could block off a couple hours for the game here. You know, I could do that on the different days, but it's like my days off, this is what I'm doing.
Time is
and
quality.
that's how I'm able to devote the time.
Well, that's why I kind of stay away from like, it's like either I kind of stay away from the bigger games as they come out. It's like I'm tempted, but I'm like, I need to finish my other games that I paid for.
Unfortunately, if they have the Black Friday or the free game of the month.
No, because I can't have any more games.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like I need to finish the games that I have because I like them. They just need time.
Yeah.
You have to devote time.
A lot of time.
Jedi Fallen Order, he has his own little town, his own little planet where you can like recruit people to do things and stuff. And it's like, it's going to take time for me to develop that. Same thing with Hogwarts Legacy, you know, like learning all the spells, taking the classes, you know, getting the ingredients to make potions and stuff. It takes time.
Yeah.
So if I introduce other games like Star Wars Battlefront upgraded, from the one from the 2000s.
You told me that,
Yeah, and so like I started playing that, and I'm like, I don't really have time to do this, but it's like I have fond memories of these games, so I want to play them, and so that's what I've been doing. But like they're short little battles that I can just throw on and do in between like anime and like a game
simple.
and like
it's boom, 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 boom. All right, cool. So like you said, I don't have to devote a lot of time to that. I'm just going in, shooting a couple things, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But these other games, you're like, all right, boom, boom, boom. And it's like you said, you can't really get anything done in an hour. You're like, all right, I got this potion done. And then it's like, I got this potion done. I can't even play. Let me get a playthrough real quick. And then that playthrough leads you to this. And next thing you know, it's 3 or 4 hours. And you're just like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know where the time went.
No.
And so that's like, you know, I'm like, one game. And like I'm pretty much at the point now, like there's very few games that I will like spend money on. I'm just waiting for you to come on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, no shame.
I'm waiting for you to come on PlayStation
Star Wars
Plus.
Outlaw comes out later this summer.
That new Ronin game. That's I'll wait till Black Friday.
I want that game.
Me too.
I do want that game. Like Sifu, I wanted to play, and I was like, I'm not playing that game. I'm not buying that. I'll wait till it's free, and then it became free, and I was like, okay, I'll play.
Have you caught up with like WWE 2K as well?
I started it, and then I started Midnight Suns. And so I'm like, once I finish, like I'm right at the tail end of Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back into WWE.
And Street Fighter, because the controller I'm still getting used to, I'm going to upgrade to get a arcade
fight
pack.
stick?
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I'm not feeling it. And plus, my favorite characters haven't debuted yet, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I get that. I can't play multiple games at a time.
I've realized my folly.
Because like I can't, because like you said, you can't get anything done in like an hour.
No.
So it's like if I'm sitting there and I'm doing this for like 3 hours, and I try to switch to another game, I'm going to be on that for 3 hours.
Exactly.
And next thing I know, it's like the day is gone. Like so, I'm like, I just got to do one game at a time. Once I finish this, I'm done with it. I might come back to it like Horizon. I finish you. I'm done with you. I'm okay. Like the Ghost of Tsushima, I wanted to go back to that to play the DLC content.
Yeah.
But like I'm like, I finished the game. I'll come back to you at some point when I have nothing else to play. Like everything else is just kind of like not
winter
interested
is usually
in
my
this.
reconfiguration.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets colder. And
You can't do anything yet.
Yeah.
Or a rainy day.
You brought up Horizon, which I have to geek out a
The
little
Lego
bit
Horizon.
because
Is it just one set or is it a couple?
no, it's a game.
It's a game.
No, but I'm talking about the Lego.
They have one set.
Okay.
It's one of the I can't remember what they're called.
Okay, go on with Horizon.
But like
Martin definitely threw out some Edwin bait with that one.
I am like freaking out because I love Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
Fantastic.
PlayStation games.
Incredible.
It's
game.
fun.
It's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful
Yes.
game. Like
Yes.
so well done. The sound effects, the story, the characters, everything. And I love Lego games. Lego Harry Potter, Lego Indiana Jones,
those Lego games.
Lego Star Wars. Yeah, all of them. Like, and then now they're gonna do a Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West Lego game. My synapses exploded. Like, I was just like, I couldn't process for a second. I'm like, what? Like, I lost it. Like, I started to shake a little bit because I'm so excited for this thing. Like,
Well,
I can't even like begin to explain how excited I am for this.
That's a
because-
game that's like, all right, I'll pay for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. that might be a pre-order.
Yeah.
Because,
It's
yeah.
a weird catalyst, similar in year, kind of like a weird catalyst.
It's such a niche thing, like, because the Horizon games are a PlayStation exclusive.
Yes.
I think they finally made it to like PC. You might be able to. Like,
I
they
believe
might be on
so.
Steam
At least
now.
the second one.
I think
I think the
it
second
is. I think it is, especially since they added that virtual reality aspect to
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that they finally it jumped consoles. And then like I know that Lego's really popular, but I know that not everybody plays the Lego video games.
They generally
do.
they generally kind of tailor them more towards kids.
Well,
It is a casual like franchise. People play it.
Yeah, people play it, but I get what Ed was saying. It's not like a major. It's not a AAA
It's not the
game.
number one selling point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're popular and they have the fan base.
Yeah.
But like I feel like this game is just made specifically for me.
Your two
Like
loves.
they didn't make this game for anybody else. I'm like that one person that they made this game for.
It's like the vending machine in another world for
Yes.
us. But
Yes.
Jamaal happened to put in his top 10.
Like they made this for me, and that's the way I'm gonna see it, and I'm really excited. So I had to geek out about that.
No shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we all have that. Like finally, I've been waiting on a new boxing game forever, and finally we're getting Undisputed. And they dropped the trailer yesterday. I think it's coming out in October, and so that's going to be a pre-order for me.
Well, I was about to say it's
That is-
cross-platformed as
That
well.
is, yeah. They came out with a beta on PC like last year, and I got mad. And for a quick second, I'm like, maybe I'll finally make that switch to PC just for this.
Yeah.
But it's like coming over to console. I'm like, thank you.
Did you?
Finally, I get my boxing game.
I was about to say, you were always with Tyson, Ready to Rumble.
Oh, I played all those
Yeah,
boxing
those are great.
games, dude.
Those are great
I
games.
love those boxing. And I had some battles with those games with different people, man.
The Wii knockout was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good one.
They had some good, like, I just love boxing. So, like, to be able to finally get a boxing, we haven't had one since, like,
Tyson.
no, I think it was like Fight Night
Fight Night. Okay.
Champion, maybe.
Okay.
And I think that came out on like the 360.
I was about to say
Wow.
PS3.
Yeah, it's
Felt like
been
that.
forever. And I get it just because, like, the licensing of everything.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not like the NBA where it's just like, all right, we got team, we'll license the NBA. It's like, no, you have to
this
go
is a
to
bunch of
all
different
these
people, yeah.
individual boxes and be like, hey, will you? So, like, I get it.
Well, as a company, you got to think about like, all right, how am I going to recoup all my licensing? Yeah,
Right.
all the fees and everything. Yeah,
Like, I completely understood. When I was younger, I didn't get it.
yeah.
And I was just mad. I'm like, I want my game. But now I'm like,
Now you understand.
I understand the impact of licensing. And like, all right, this is a lower level dude. It ain't going to cost me no money to license his stuff. He's going to want to be in the game.
Yeah,
But like a Canelo Alvarez or a Floyd Mayweather or a Tyson Fury, that licensing fee is going to go up. So like, I get it. So it's like, all right, I haven't played a game with this person in a while. Why can't I get it?
Yeah.
you know why.
I get it. I get it. That's why I'm like, why didn't somebody just come out with like a Floyd Mayweather boxing game?
Okay, yeah.
So you could play with them. Just do it. That's what they used to do in the game.
like Tiger Woods.
We never
Yeah.
got Michael Jordan back in the day, and then they came out with like Jordan versus Bird.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's what you do. You just give them their own game.
Yep.
That's my next, like, all right, I'll pay for you.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm excited for.
For my number one most anticipated is XCOM 3, but now it's having the territory of Half-Life 3.
Oh.
It might just not happen.
Yeah, I saw that the developers of XCOM and Midnight Suns is coming together to create like some like Sims like game.
Okay.
Like you said, like
Something?
a Half-Life type game.
Well, yeah.
Like that.
Oh, that's
I
weird.
heard they're coming together to do that.
Yeah, like
And I'm like, I don't want
a sequel that should have happened years ago, but probably won't.
This
happen.
morning, I was reading Speaking about things that might never happen, I was reading an article about Elder Scrolls 6.
Good. That's been too long, guys.
How they came out with a trailer for it in 2018, and like it's 6 years later, and they have no clue as to when this game is going to be released.
Hey, I bought PS4 solely to get Last Guardian. It was originally announced for PlayStation 2.
Wow, Jesus. Well, they're thinking that like Elder Scrolls 6 might not even make it onto the PS5.
Yeah. And the rumor has it's going to be only virtual or something. Those crazy.
Oh no, they're insane. If they do that, that's just insane.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would have made
Virtual still hasn't gotten. I don't.
It hasn't caught on to that point.
It's too expensive.
Well, it's
too expensive.
And only like it has to be the most perfect capable thing. It has to be like Shangri-La Frontier. In my book.
Make me buy a console just to have to make me buy a VR headset.
Exactly.
It's like, don't make me do it.
Add-ons never worked in gaming industry.
It hasn't. It really hasn't. Nintendo proved that.
Yeah, sadly.
They tried.
Yeah, they were way ahead of their time, but they gave up. They realized that a lot of these things just don't.
And the birth of PlayStation, only because they didn't want to do CD-based. Yeah. Makes you think.
Yeah.
They would have been like Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah, if they had switched from the cartridges?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. They kind of screwed they kind of screwed themselves on that, but it makes sense for Nintendo. They're
semi-ambitious. They go ambitious through their own routes.
Nintendo makes sense because, like, in Japan, they still value the physical cartridges and the physical media.
That part makes sense to me.
Yeah.
They're just very traditional.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Very much.
Yeah, they remind me of like Funimation when Funimation started.
Yeah, their own pace.
Like like they're doing their own thing. It might not make sense to you, but it makes sense.
Kids are gonna love it.
It'll make sense
makes
years later
culturally and like
Wee's the number
It'll
one
make
example.
sense years later when people try to copy it.
Yeah.
So
well, that's why they're still out here with
Switch
their
is
own
like
IP.
Switch is like the perfect.
Where everybody else is just gone.
And to me, the Switch will always be the perfect console. Like,
well, just like the Wii, they brought they had the Super Nintendo, and they're like, where do we go from here? And then he came out with the Wii, and the Wii was the big thing.
Well, 64.
Yeah, 64.
64.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, then 64.
Yeah.
And that was that GameCube.
And even though they're the
GameCube.
greatest games ever, there was still that awkward period like, should we be CD? So N64 has that flag.
And it wasn't CD, it was the mini disc.
Yeah.
So you couldn't do
Until
anything with
GameCube.
it.
Until GameCube. Yeah. And GameCube's underrated as fuck. I love GameCube.
GameCube was good.
Yeah.
They haven't really come out with any bad consoles.
No.
The Wii U was probably the
worst
one.
Well,
but
because it was a hybrid.
It was supposed to be Switch. Essentially, it should have
It
been.
was the test.
Yes,
for the Switch.
It was the test because they had the
Pad,
pad where you could play the game on the pad and on the TV, and it's like, okay, this doesn't work, but it's what led to the Switch, which boomed. So, and now you got PlayStation with the little handheld bone thing.
Yeah. Poor Vista. Vista is underrated as heck too.
It was okay.
Or the handheld.
Oh yeah.
I think it was called Vista. My friend had it. It was fun.
Vita.
Vita.
The
Sorry,
PS.
Vita.
The PS.
The Vita.
Yeah, I have one of those actually. Yeah, the graphics were really good.
And dare I say Dreamcast? That's my number 1A, 1B anticipation. If they re-released a whole catalog of Dreamcast, I'm there
With the memory card.
Yeah, I'm in there in line.
Oh yeah, like Caffrey's still like buying games, like retro games.
In Japan, they're cheap as fuck.
I love the Dreamcast.
So
I would really like for Sega to start making consoles again.
They could.
Nobody's going to be making. I think it's just going to be Sony at some point.
Yeah, even Microsoft's like.
Well, I think Microsoft is chomping at the bit to get out of the console business.
Yes.
They're trying to. They seem active. They seem like they're actively trying to find reasons to stop making consoles.
Oh my God.
And really, at this point, like, if you have something with the processing power, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like if you're selling your consoles at a loss, it kind of makes sense for you to get out of the console game. I mean, especially if you can't offer anything better than the PS5 or a PC.
Right.
If your console can't offer better graphics than that, better game performance and better quality, then why?
Because they tried to do too much with theirs. They didn't want to make a console. They wanted to make an all-in-one entertainment hub.
which
is fine, but
Sony's been trying to do that for years, and it always just ends up being. But they're still the best. Like, because Sony,
but they were game based.
Yeah.
Microsoft was kind of like, we're going to be everything. You can watch your TV from here. You can do this. You can do that.
They put too many eggs in the basket.
They put too many eggs in the basket.
Well,
and
because they didn't focus on the games.
Exactly. That's
With
my
Sony,
point.
it's always they focused on the games and built around it.
Exactly.
Like they
created their own universe. Yeah.
Well, they had like $1,000. I remember when they came out with that $1,000 PS console that essentially did everything that you're saying. But like that was separate from like the regular PlayStations that they were coming out with.
Yes,
it's like this can do everything, but they still kept their gaming consoles. Microsoft never did that, and Microsoft, I hated when they came out with their console, their first console, and they're like, "Oh, see, it's better than the PS2." I'm like, the PS2 has been out for 5 years,
right?
Yeah. It's like,
still you still can't. You're like, yeah, you're better, but it's like this thing has been out for 5 years and it's a beast.
Yeah,
you cannot destroy this thing. Like my PS3 and my PS4, my PS3 stopped working. I had some kind of issues with my PS4. My PS2, you plug that thing, turn it on, boom,
and that's
it's
like
still going.
It's the N64 level of quality. With
we're
games.
talking like how old?
Grand Theft Auto.
Like this thing is almost 20 years old now, and it's still like it's still a beast.
Oh yeah, Tekken games, you name it.
Yeah, that thing was designed to take punishment, man.
Yeah,
and the PS3.
One of the better consoles.
And the PS3 is a freaking supercomputer. I mean,
PS3, it couldn't handle what they wanted to do with it. And that's why everybody had issues with the PS3.
Well, because they went in an entirely different direction with their with the multiple chip system. Yeah. That like, hey, this is great if like you can combine them and like
if only they knew about streaming up on Horizon.
Yeah, if you have like multiple PS4s operating in sync with each other, you can like this will work, but just one, no.
It didn't work.
But it still managed to do a lot more than I think the Xbox did.
Oh yeah, the Xbox has never outsold.
360 is like the last, like if they would have like floated the waters. That's about it. Then they
360 was I like the 360. It was a good console. It gave you the red rings to death. Yeah, I like the 360.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption is still my favorite on that.
That's the thing. Like Microsoft never past Halo and maybe kind of Gears of War. They never really cultivated many exclusives. Like PlayStation always pumped out exclusives. They have a number of properties that we can say this is ours.
Yeah, and their Friday franchise is one of the best. Up there with Smash.
Yeah.
With all their mascots. It's wonderful. Papa Rapper, he was my favorite.
Rapper.
I remember him.
He had the best super of all of them.
One of our employees came in dressed like that. And I was like, are you intentionally doing this? Or like what's with that hat from the 90s?
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah. I don't even know how we got into that video game conversation.
Well, like I said,
your last question? Well, something about Magneto?
Well, final thoughts on X-Men 97 full
He asked us a question about Magneto, and we didn't answer it.
Oh, because I haven't finished it, so I was asking, like, how does that play out?
Oh, okay.
Well,
because I know the last time I saw him, Bastion had kind of had control of him.
Yeah. So it
without spoiling too much.
There's a mental struggle between Bastion kind of has control of him, like you said. So it ends up being a fight between like mentally with him and Professor X.
Yeah, full circle. Think of like the original series.
So it like you said, it's kind of a full circle moment.
Okay, which is in keeping with the themes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's always been an internal.
So they do cover that, and it does play out well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm baffled why the writer got ousted. It's like
they said he was
gotta trust yours.
They said he was difficult to work with. My guess,
I think he jumped the.
I think he had a very good pulse of what fans wanted from this show, I think this show is very different from what Disney usually does. And I think they my guess is they kind of wanted him to be more of their style, and he's just kind of like, no, I'm going to do this way.
Yeah. The phase of like after Infinity War or Endgame is over, guys. You got to keep something emotional.
They've proven that they're fine with like, all right, we got Echo and we got Deadpool, but Deadpool is still like kind of funny.
Yeah.
And it's still light. It's just that
and it's
he's
still
kind
tough-
of vulgar and violent.
Till a different property too, technically.
Yeah. No, I mean,
this isn't something like watching this. I'm like,
this
isn't something that you can market to kids.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
this is not a
this is for us.
this is
People
not
that grew up with the show.
This is not a kid show.
No.
People that knew that.
This is not for kids. This is for the people that were kids when this came out and are now adults.
Yeah.
That's what this is for.
This is a very adult
I'm
show.
assuming that they wanted this to be more for kids.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think this is like, no, this is for adults
Yeah.
that were kids then. So I
Like,
don't know I don't know why.
If we can
but that's what I-
compare and
that's what I
contrast for a second, like I think that the closest thing that they've done would be the what if stories.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But those still can be like, if I'm watching those, I can watch those with my kid.
Yeah.
Like if I'm sitting there, like I might not let them watch the zombie one, maybe not, depending, because it doesn't get too crazy. But this I would not watch with children. Like this you can't, like I wouldn't watch with like younger children, like a preteen to a teenager. I could watch it with them and discuss the issues that are going on the screen. But like this is not like, oh, I'm gonna sell branding for, like 5-year-olds. It's like no, this is not, no.
Yeah.
I think you can watch this. I think kids can watch this, but they're not going to understand the themes. And
No.
Yeah.
they could. You could still have them watch it so they can see the cool fight scenes in Jubilee, like boom, 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 and
The Jubilee episode in general.
here's a little love story here, but they won't understand the depth of it.
Not at all.
They won't
It'll be
because it's
completely
not
lost,
like
yeah.
they're using any foul language or there's any like exposed skin or like there's nothing that like kids can't watch this, even if it's excessively violent with like they're wiping people out, but it's not like something that's going to like traumatize a kid, but they would not understand.
Yeah.
No.
And
they're gonna get bored. If they're watching if they're watching the Storm episode, they're gonna get bored.
They might, true.
Because most of that
Very
is
true.
like an internal struggle.
I confess, when I was younger, like Magneto's background and like Charles and him discussing, like they kept it short and sweet, but even I was like, okay, where's the fight? Because I'm a kid. I didn't know any better.
This is a very different, like thematically, like
Absolutely.
from like everything that they've done in the MCU.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, like you said, it has more depth. It's a little bit more sophisticated.
Yes.
Which I was kind of surprised by because I didn't
especially with the
expect
art,
it.
because the art reminded me a lot of Venture Brothers, especially the zoom ins and zoom outs. Venture Brothers was like keen with like perspective and stuff like that.
Yeah, the artwork really there are moments, especially when Rogue like completely loses it on not Trask. Yeah, it's a Trask. Yeah.
That zoom in, that was an excellent episode.
Like when her hair is like matted and like she's like the rage is there.
And it's the same voice actor, so you can tell they're withered. They're tired of this fight.
Yeah.
From Rogue to Wolverine.
The lighting, everything. It's like this was really well done.
The guy who did the Xavier is not a new actor, and he did a wonderful job. It's just like the original.
Yeah, I could tell he wasn't the same one. I was like, oh, this is not. Yeah. All right. So
Rant time.
all right. So we're gonna get into our rants now, and one of my rants for this season is that time I got reincarnated by a slime has been one of my favorite shows for the last few years. Because of its lightheartedness.
Season 1.
It's lightheartedness. It's watching Rimuru transition from like just being like this OP character to like the nation building and like the fight scenes, these like crazy fight scenes, and how he's brought all these monsters on board with him, and his ignorance of the world causing him to create like essentially super monsters, and how they've all worked together. And I had some questions last season about like, hey, some of the choices that you guys are making are kind of questionable, but in this season it's been nothing but talking. It's been nothing but like, hey, look, I feel like I'm not watching a show. Like after a basketball game or football game, they break down like, this is what happened, and this is what happened, and this is how this person played, and this is the stats for this person. And I feel like that's all I've been watching for the last like 5 or 6 episodes.
Season 3.
Yeah, season 3 has just been like, and I get it, a lot happened, and you need to break it down, and like everybody, but do I have to get everybody's perspective? Do I have to get the perspective of all the bad guys, the perspective of like every single group that's involved in this? It's like meeting after meeting after meeting. And I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck in the pandemic again. I'm like, could have been done in a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
It's like, can we just have
Per my last email.
per my last email, Rimuru sucks. We have to go take him out. He's trying to legitimize monsters. Let's go take him out. And so
That's how much I missed out.
but dude, it's like everybody's like planning and scheming and like reveals and like, what? They did this? What? They did that? How did that happen? It's like, watch the show. Watch the show.
You guys have to. It's like a meta thing. Like you guys rewind. This is when it happens.
Like
Catch up with us.
He did this? What? He's a good guy. He didn't kill you. You didn't kill him. What? Or how do we kill him? He killed this guy. He killed that. It's like okay, we're counting the bodies. We're counting the score, and it's like, no, I don't even know what I'm watching. I don't know what I'm watching anymore. I don't know what I want from the show because it's like it's gotten to the point where like, all right, I watch people talking for half a season and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have so the last episode, they're traveling through the city before they even get to Tempest.
Right.
They're seeing like the improvements that have been caused by Rimuru and like his philosophy of like he wants humans and like,
humans and monsters
to live together. Right. And then they stop and there's a ramen shop and they spend all this time eating at the ramen shop. And then they get to like the misunderstandings. And then it's like they confront each other. Boom. Episode ends. I'm like, see, if you had cut out a good chunk of that, we could have gotten to the fight. The fight could have started now. It could have ended in a cliffhanger. And then we could have led to the next episode instead of like, we're looking at each other across from the field of battle. And it's like, how have you guys not figured out who the bad guys are?
That was my only criticism of Ranking of Kings because they had those type of cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Well,
Ranking of Kings, like, even they never went to this extreme.
No. It was B, C, D. It sounds like with slime is like to X, to Y, to like negative.
No, so it's like,
here's what it. So remember when we talked about the movie with Kyle? We talked about the movie with Jesse, and we all said the same thing. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
This is how the movie was. It was just nothing. It was a bunch of talking.
This
and
is
scheming.
Worse.
It's worse
than the movie because
it's drawn out way too long. And it's just like you know how, what was it, was it like the first episode or whatever when we're like, oh, the season started and it was just like, no, this is a recap of last season. It feels like 6 episodes of that.
Yeah.
It feels like 6 episodes of that.
I hate that.
That's what this feels like. Or like, when they're like in the mid-season and they're like, ooh, we're going to recap everything that happened in the first 5 episodes. That's what this feels like. It is just...
It feels
somebody like toasted a marshmallow.
And then just stretched it.
And it's stretching, 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 and it won't break.
It's like...
That's what this is. It's just...
What's like if somebody gave you a loaf of bread and said, hey, live off of this for 6 months. Yeah. And you're like, oh... Okay. By the time you're done with that bread, you're like, I'm sick of fucking bread.
Yeah.
Or like if like, hey, I went to the movies and I got some popcorn and I'm sitting there eating popcorn and people decide to talk about, instead of talking about the movie, they're talking about me eating the popcorn, right? But you have 6 different podcasts talking about me eating the popcorn. And it's like from every like angle. It's like, Edwin was eating popcorn. How was he eating the popcorn?
Anime tends... Well, it's not actually. It's not. Yeah, their shows have done that.
Yeah, their shows have done that.
Even Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. Like, okay, I didn't expect a demon like perspective. Okay, that's interesting.
I don't care about getting their perspective.
Yeah,
but it's
everybody's perspective of the same events.
Yeah, it's like Rimaru's calling them into the office, and he's like, "All right, what do you think?" And then he turns to the goblins.
Like, what do you think?
What do you think? And then he turns to the whoever, the beast people.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Yep.
And then let's call him in. Let's see what he think. And it's just like, no.
It's like,
why do I need all of this?
We haven't gotten Uncle Phil's perspective.
Right.
So let's bring
from a different show,
Phil.
from a different universe.
Yeah. And so then that's one episode. Then the next episode is like,
we're going across to
the bad guys,
to the holy people,
they're
to the holy people.
They get their chance to tell you everything that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
And then the villain clowns, they get to tell you everything that happened last season. And then they got to go back. The Holy Knight, she got her chance to explain the things that happened in the movie. Now she needs to explain the things that happened last season.
Yeah.
And it's finding the point where, like, and then these other guys got to come in and tell you what happened in the movie. And then these other guys got to come in and tell you, like, well, we didn't know. So what happened?
Yeah.
And so now they're starting to tell you what happened. And you're just like, this is 6 episodes, guys.
Six long episodes, and you keep waiting
for something
and
to
like
happen.
The first 3 episodes you're like, oh, okay, they're just setting up, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And then you get to episode 2 and you're like, all right, it's just set up. All right, I will get to it. And then episode 3 it's like, oh, okay, there's a lot of setup, but all right, we're getting to it.
Well, I feel like Veldora at this point where it's like, can I just go read a manga while you guys figure out what's going on?
Well, to go back to our original,
and I'll come back when like you need like. Oh, you guys are still talking? Okay.
Oh, man.
I'm reading.
Well,
wait, nothing's happened yet? I'm reading. It's like, you guys, can I take a nap and go get some food? I'll come back. I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back.
Fair. But it goes back to our original first review, one of our earliest episodes, diving into Isekai. Like, even my initial like review of it for the first season, and you guys liked it more. I accepted that. It was like me with the dialogue. It was like, you guys keep on mentioning it as world building, but I didn't feel that. It was more like person building, tribe building, like more like this blue little ball just getting meshed in with this world. That's why I took my takeaway from it for first season.
Well, first
that
it
was
was
the first. That
first
was
it was
the first
him.
season.
Yeah.
He was building up his powers, and he was like, we were seeing him like it was your regular standard isekai where it's like, oh, I'm gonna like, there's a new one called Remonster.
Yeah.
Where like he eats something and he gains their powers.
Like a chimera.
Yeah.
Jesse likes that one a lot.
Yeah. So same thing. That's like the first season of Rimuru, where he keeps getting stronger and he keeps getting stronger because he's essentially feeding off of all the magicules that Veldora has been putting out into this cave. And so he's kind of like feeding off of all that. So we see him grow, and then you transition into a different kind of isekai where, like you said, it's tribe building. Then we transition into like another kind of isekai where it's nation building.
Yeah.
And then we transition into like another isekai where he's using previous knowledge from the other world and bringing it into this world, like with the roads or the ramen restaurant or like the way he's building his nation and stuff.
Yeah.
So you keep getting these different isekai tropes, but I think where the series is starting to fail is that like as the story gets bigger, you bring in more and more characters and more factions, and it's like, how do you balance the storytelling with the need to see what each faction is thinking and how they're reacting to each other? And it's like, I think there could be a much better way to make this more interesting than to just literally have everybody sit there and talk while the good stuff, the scheming, the plotting, the planning is all happening behind the scenes. You're not getting any of that. Like those 7 days guys, she fucked them up in the movie, apparently. And they're pissed about it. So they're going to take her out, and they're planning on taking her out and Rimuru out so they can get back into like where they want to be.
Did she?
Or at least of the first
That
movie?
happened because they talked about it.
Yeah, the second.
She took those dudes
the official
out,
movie. Okay.
and she gained their powers. Now they're just regular guys.
The movie.
Because there's also two OVAs, right? I always get that confused.
It might be one of the OVAs.
Okay.
It's one of the OVAs.
Okay.
The movie had nothing to do with any of this.
That's the
Okay.
thing.
We'll see. Even
All I hear about this review is
The
nothing.
movie had absolutely nothing to do with it.
so now we
The
get a
movie
review of
was
the OVA.
Some girl in some country, like who's the red dude? Is that Benny Maru, the red dude that has the horn?
Yes.
Yeah. So Benny Maru has like
He's one of the Oni.
Yeah. He's one of his mentors was like the guardian for this princess that was over here, and she's running this nation, but she's kind of like, I guess the water or something was poisoned, so she's like using her mana or whatever to purify it to keep the people alive. And then they ended up like uncovering some plot or whatever. So Benny Maru kind of goes over there and reports and talks to his mentor or whatever, and he reports back to Rimuru, and then they come over there and like boom, boom, and they help her. It had nothing to do with any of this. It was one of the OVAs.
Okay.
Where, because this is when he meets her because they had the same mentor, right? because the person who Rimuru has the human form of was the mentor of the lady.
Wasn't it tied in with season 2 as well?
That was tied in with season 2.
Okay.
That was tied in with season 2.
Gotcha.
And so her and Rimuru had that clash because she thought that
he had killed her.
Yeah, had killed her. Mm-hmm. And so now that's where that comes in at. So yeah, I think that was an OVA. That wasn't a movie.
Okay, but like from Kyle, from you, from
the movie
Jesse,
sucked.
Movie sucked. Nothing happened.
I didn't want to even bother.
Sweet, short and sweet.
Yeah, I didn't even want to bother.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, I tried to watch that Slice of Life one that they did, and that was just 2 Slice of Life.
Which one?
The second one, then.
No, they did a separate series. What was it called? Summer Days, or so it was essentially it covered 1 year in the year in the life of the characters living in Tempest, and it was about growing. He was teaching them how to grow different crops.
Okay.
And it was just like a day-to-day, like, oh, this is what this person's doing, what's this person doing. And that's what I think a lot of people wanted, because everything was moving so fast.
Yeah.
And the nation was shaping up, and all these battles and like schemes and plots, and you weren't really getting like the day-to-day their day-to-day lives. But when they did it, they went way too hard on the like, oh, like this is kind of tedious. Because it's like, I don't want a farming sim. I want like give me some battles, give me some like, like let me see the lives of these characters, but not like through like a farming anime. Like, yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem with it. There's a very severe pacing issue.
They don't know how to pace this show at all.
There's a very severe
really
pacing
don't. And I don't know if that comes from the manga. I don't know if like
I don't know
because
I haven't read it,
so
I couldn't tell you if this is like how it is in the manga, but if it is, bro, chop some of that stuff off.
Yeah.
Chop some of that stuff off.
Save for
or give me some fights in between. Like, give me something like
show me the fight of these other nations over here.
Yeah. Have him send people off.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna send you guys over here.
Well, he is sending them off.
He is, but the stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
They bring everything to him, and it's like, let them have like. Give me, like, you have all these characters.
Like, I don't want you to interfere. He's telling Diablo, well, I don't want you to fight. I don't want you to interfere. Just go there and report to me.
Well, because he wants everything to be peaceful, but, like, let some kind of conflict happen away from the main character.
Demon Lord.
Yeah.
You're a demon lord. You have a servant named Diablo.
Who's an archdemon.
Who's an archdemon.
Yep.
Fights are going to happen. Like, if you're sitting on the throne, you could try to be as peaceful as you want, but when it's time to fight, you gotta fight. And that's it.
They keep, and that's the problem, I think, with the show is that a lot of the conflict a lot of the scheming or conflict happens off screen now.
Yeah.
And so you don't really, and it's like, why are you bringing everything to him? Let me see some of the battles that break out in other places.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let me see
intersperse it with like,
Don't just tell me about it.
Well, because obviously that bishop that he took over, they did something to him, and they didn't show you, and they didn't tell you. And I don't want to watch an entire season of like the revelation of like what happened to this dude, because what's going to happen is Diablo is going to come and tell him like, hey, this is what happened, or it's going to be a big reveal. It's like, I already fucking know what happened. Those 7 Days guys conspired with somebody else and the merchants, and I already know what happened. I don't need to watch 5 episodes to tell me what happened. I know what happened. Can we just like have conflict?
Yeah.
Can we have some battles? Can we have Veldora come out and destroy something? At this point,
he wants to, but he gets mad at him. He's like, no, you're the last option.
Like, I get it, and I get it too. I get it. The dude's crazy strong, but I'd be okay with that. Let him blow up a nation. These are fictional characters. Yeah. I don't care. And it would be better than Rimuru killing 30,000 people.
Technically, the show was built for war. Unfortunately, that's as perfect as the utopia as you're going to make it. There's going to be conflict.
Dude,
because
everybody
he's going to
knows you had to kill a certain amount of people
to become a demon lord.
Okay, that
you are now like they covered that in 2.
Oh, okay.
And they refer to that because you had to cover like 10,000, 20,000 people or something.
30,000.
It was 30,000.
Similar Berserk.
I think it's 10.
I think it's
10, but he took out 30,000.
Similar Berserk.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so he came out even stronger.
Yeah. So you have to wipe out 10,000 to become a demon lord. So he does this 3 times over. I don't care how peaceful you try to be. You kill 30,000 people, dude.
He hit it too.
People are going to
They hit
Karma.
They're going to think that you are a bad person.
Not about karma. They painted it like
Yeah.
they didn't like having a monster city.
Okay.
They didn't like having a monster nation on their doorstep. We're not going to let this happen.
Kind of like X-Men.
So they went in. They tried to make him look bad. They slaughtered a bunch of his people. He got pissed. He went and he wiped them out. I get it.
Did you watch season 2?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're way but that's why you're
So we're doing
You're not
season 3
understanding.
for you.
Yeah.
We're playing. So essentially,
Yeah, I know.
we're doing
Season 2
Yeah.
was worth watching.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Season 2 was paced a lot better, and,
Yeah.
and it was a lot. And it
That was
built up
good.
To this 3 is very slow. 3 is very slow. So I would say like
So
spend
essentially,
the
Just
time
watch
watching,
season
spend the time watching 2, and then 3 you could really like just
Skip.
kind of read a review of.
yeah, you can jump to like episode 6,
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I'm fine
and
with
you might
that.
not,
I like some of the characters.
and you might not be lost.
Yeah.
You're not going to be lost at all.
But essentially, the first 5 episodes of of season 3 are people talking about what happened in season 2.
yeah, it is. No,
This
no,
is why
seriously, it is.
no,
I
we're
know, I
not
know.
kidding.
I know.
Yeah, like
So-
every single episode is like them talking about what happened in season 2.
It provides
Which-
maybe a little more background, but it's
Well, you
not
get
necessary.
You get some of the scheming, and like in between the meetings, something will happen.
Yeah.
But it still takes place inside of a meeting.
Yeah.
Like Diablo doesn't go somewhere.
Right.
Like he'll disappear and then he'll reappear and he'll be like, "Oh, this happened," and you're like, "God damn it! Why couldn't I see that happen?"
Right.
Like at this point, I want to see that. I want to see anything else but Veldora reading manga. I'm pissed because it's like, if you cut to Veldora reading manga one more time, I'm going to fucking punch the screen and I'm not going to watch this show anymore, because it's like, that's the fucking Storm Dragon and you have him sitting there reading manga. And it's like, which is fine. That's what he wants to do. Really? He just wants to eat like custard and read manga. Fine. But it's like, that's the way I feel about the show.
Yeah.
It's like it's chaining itself. And it's like, no, burst out. Be your bad self or be whatever you're going to be, but don't be this shit where it's like, I don't want to read a manga about a show that I just watched, because it's like I already know everything that happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
It's refreshing your mind.
well, because I don't need to read 6 volumes of a manga that are exactly the same of the show that I just, it's like, no.
You're supposed to adapt. Yeah.
Well, no, you're supposed to like move on with the story and like
Yeah.
pace it better and give me some conflict. Give me a reason to watch.
That too.
You know, give me a reason to watch.
They're not giving you anything right now.
No.
They're not giving you anything. So yeah, like Jack, season 3, in all honesty, you're not missing a darn thing.
No.
Season 2's worth watching. Season 2 was good.
I will catch up.
Season 2 was good. Season 3, only thing that's going on is Diablo and what's her name? The purple hair girl. Shion.
Yeah.
Diablo and Shion
Are beefing.
are beefing to be Rimuru's right hand.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's happening in the meetings.
Yeah.
Oh, Shion better one.
Shion and Diablo are beefing to be his right hand. That's half the meeting every time.
Yeah.
They're doing little pop shots at each other. That's it.
Yep.
First 2 seasons were good, but it's very slow, very disappointing. Even if you're a fan of the show, this is a lot of filler.
Yeah.
It's filler. We're 6 episodes. We're halfway through the season.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the season, and literally nothing's happened. You could have wrapped this all up in 2 episodes, tops. Even if you do a 3-episode arc, I could be like, okay, but we're 6 episodes and nothing has happened.
Like, I could go back and rewatch the first season to refresh my memory, to remember stuff, to laugh at the same, oh, this was cool. I remember this. All right. I would be torturing myself.
No. If you got the idea of it already, that's fine.
No, there's no reason. I don't know why anybody would ever, in their right mind, rewatch this 3rd season. You could literally just go watch the 2nd season again, and you'd be perfectly fine.
All right.
And that's disappointing, because it's so you have a half a season, and you don't get a lot of episodes. You get your 12 episodes, and that's it. And it's why would you do this to anybody who watches this show? Why would you give them 6 episodes that they would never, ever, ever want to rewatch again in their lives?
It's bad. I mean, it reminds me of what was that show I watched on High Dive last season? That my overpowered skill thing or whatever, and it took like 7-8 episodes for the story to really kick in, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. This isn't bad, but the season's almost over now.
It restrained itself too much. Okay.
The season's almost over now.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's me with One Punch Man.
Well, because there's the introduction arc. That's the first 3 episodes. Then they introduce the first like problem or wrinkle. Then that's the next 3 episodes. And then the final ones are either the rival or like the big problem. So I get it, but like I've always said, it's like, and what I always hear is it's like, it doesn't matter where you want your characters to end up. It has to be entertaining on the way there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is not entertaining at all. It's not entertaining at all. Very disappointing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
This is definitely thus far like most disappointing show of the season. It's kind of like leading into like what are we watching this season? So, yeah, we're watching Slime. Jack isn't. He's the smart one of the bunch.
And I'm finally gonna catch up with Konosuba because I have to catch up. I'm gonna skip Megumin because that was disappointing.
You know, Konosuba, I can rant about that too.
Go ahead.
Small little bubble. Yeah, try it.
Well, here you go. So I don't remember much from the last season because it's been so long.
Been a while, yeah.
But going into this season, I was like, all right, and it's been funny. The characters have been entertaining. It's been funny.
It's been okay.
And then they hit a wall, and it's like
the princess.
Yeah, when the minute they started that episode where he's like, what did you call me?
Big brother.
Big brother, and she's like, what did you call me? Big brother. Can you say that again? And then the very next episode, I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
This crossed a threshold for me where I'm like, ew. And I get where they're going. They want to, it's him. He always goes way too far in what he's doing and makes it terrible. It's within keeping with character.
Yeah.
And once you get to the other side of it, it'll be funny again and he'll redeem himself. I just don't want to go through that again. I'm like, do you have to do this every season?
He does.
Does he have to become like the worst possible person?
Like Rudy.
It's kind of worse than Rudy because it's like you already know this is going to happen.
Yeah,
it's mostly played for laughs.
Yeah.
But it's like, do I really want to go through this again? I'm like, I have to go through this every season. I don't want to go on this ride again. So I'm like, I'm debating.
Because like the first 2 episodes, he was kind of like, you know, when am I going to reach that hero phase of like all the girls love me because I'm a hero? And they don't.
Or it was more like, when is something going to work out that I want to work out?
Yeah.
Where he's got like these other people like grabbing on it. He's like, everybody wants a piece of me.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to stay with me kind of deal. So he's like, I'm giving up. And I thought that was kind of funny and kind of sad. But they get him back. They're like, oh, okay. They get him back in there. And then it just, the stuff with the princess and everything and like how crazy they all are, especially Aqua.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. Darkness, of course.
It was all right.
Darkness was kind of cooler than she normally is, I think, in these.
Darkness was kind of like even keel in this.
Which was kind of surprising.
But then when he gets to the princess, he's like trying to tell the princess all these stories about darkness. And like the princess's aide is just like, no, don't you tell her that. She's innocent or whatever. This is another show where it's like, it's a little disappointing right now.
And this is 3rd season.
It's a little disappointing right now because it's kind of like they came off of season 2 with the arc with the corrupt priest thing, right?
Okay.
So you have this thing that happens, and like Aqua, they were praising Aqua as like the goddess of whatever. Like they have this big thing that happened, and we're coming off of that, and there's no build from that. And it's kind of like Edwin says, we're kind of going off on a side story of him with this princess, and it's not. I don't care.
Yeah.
Kazuma's getting himself in trouble again, and it's like he said, he's going to eventually redeem himself. But we're 3 seasons in, man.
That's the thing.
Once you're in season 3, you got to cut all that side stuff out and like get to the meat of things.
Yeah,
man.
like examples, Kaguya-sama.
Well, especially because it takes so long for these seasons to even come out.
That's the thing.
Well, you have to decide, it's like, is this what the show's going to be? Like, is this literally like what the show's going to be? because it's like, if this is what the show's going to be, then I can be prepared for that. Because if you're not going to tell a bigger story, if your characters aren't going to change, then it's like I have that, and then that way I can decide where I'm like, oh, like with Slime.
Yeah.
I'm like, if this is what the show's going to be, like I have to decide whether I'm going to stick around for this or I'm going to leave.
Or a better example is Demon Slayer. Like they're just keeping on going. We have a goal in mind. Like,
well, Demon Slayer,
refocus on the goal.
Demon Slayer is a different type of show, but they know what they are.
That's what I mean.
They know what they are. They know where they're going.
Yeah.
And you can see the gradual progression. Well, most shonen like have an endpoint in sight. Like it might be bigger, like with Black Clover, where he wants to be
the Wizard King.
Yeah, he wants to be the Wizard King, and so that's his end goal. That's the end goal of the series. With Jujutsu Kaisen, it's killing the main demon. It's taking him out. That's the end point. With like at that time I got reincarnated as a slime. At this point, I have no idea like what the end point is. And then with Konosuba, I don't think there is an end point. Maybe him ending up with Megumin.
Or back at home. Who knows?
No, I don't think he's going.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
He got stuck with Aqua in another world.
Yes.
Which, Jesus.
So you don't know, like the endpoint isn't clear, and it's like, what end do you really want for this character?
And has he changed in any sense? And
not
you're
at
like,
all.
No,
not one bit. But I mean, Konosuba is kind of a parody. So like you kind of expect the person to change. So for him not to change within the context of the show, it makes sense.
Yeah, keeping spirit.
But it also makes that character kind of stale. So, all right, so let's just do a quick run through. What are you watching this season? Like, what are you watching, and what are things that, like, you haven't gotten around to yet, but you're like, I'm going to watch that this season?
The Power Ranger.
This is around the time when we would do our mid-season review, but, you know.
I mentioned Remonster.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that that wasn't on my radar at all. I saw someone talking about it, and I said, oh, let me check this out. I watched that. Then I watched The Seventh Son. Reborn as so that one actually, there's several isekai that I'm watching right now. I can go into the titles, but for the most part they're not that dissimilar from stuff that we've watched before. I like Seventh Son because it's funny.
Yeah.
He is so OP that people are literally afraid of him. For you, Jamal, there's some fan service where I think that it would, like, harem building and fan service. It's not the main focus of the show. The main focus is more the humor aspect.
Right.
And like his total, like, he's kind of oblivious to anything else that's going on in his world. And so that's what he focuses on. And I think that's enjoyable. Remonster is kind of like that first season of Rimuru. In there's some really questionable, like, harem building that you would not be comfortable with. I've caught up with Lime. I'm pretty much caught up with Konosuba. I watched the first half of Demon Slayer. I watched the first half because I didn't realize it was an hour or like
first episode debut.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, what's going on? Why is this going so much longer? There's a few other shows. I haven't really gotten into any slice of life shows this season. And I kind of find that surprising.
And there's ones that are in between. Unnamed Memories, kind of there for a slice of life.
It's more of like a romance.
Yeah.
A will they won't they kind of romance, which was like kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised by that, but I was also surprised by your Go Loser Ranger.
Yeah.
Which was like not what I was expecting at all. And the first episode, I was like, oh, this is kind of cheesy. I don't know if I'm going to get into this. But as it's progressed, it's kind of became a cat and mouse game between like him and the Rangers, and it's like how deep
and his allies.
Oh yeah, his allies are almost just as bad as the Rangers. Not the guy. The guy
Yeah,
seems
he
to be.
seems pretty innocent.
Yeah, he seemed pretty innocent, and he realizes what the Rangers are.
Yeah.
The girl, who's the kind of like the sidekick,
Yeah.
she's shady as shit.
Yeah,
I don't know what her
you
deal
can't trust
is.
her either way.
No. Yeah, so that's going on.
Okay, the only ones that are left an impression with me, Bartender, of course. Duke of Death season 3 is really good. It's better than last season.
Okay.
At least with the final stretch there. And then I've only tested the waters, but Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night and Whisper Me a Love Song, A-OK, music-loving type of genre shows. And then Unnamed Memory. That's probably the biggest surprise of them all at the moment for me.
Let me pull it up. What am I watching?
Yeah, I know.
Because
there's ones I've only seen one episode of so far.
Slime, I'm caught up on.
Like Kaiju number 8, I've only seen one episode.
Kaiju, I'm caught up on. Bartender, I'm caught up on. Konosuba, I've watched the first 3. I had some catching up to do on that, but I will finish that. These are my Crunchyroll titles. Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again, I'm watching.
I've only watched the
How
first
was that one?
That one's
Anything-
interesting.
It's all right.
Okay.
I saw the first episode. It's definitely the cheekiest one of the bunch.
It is very cheeky. Yeah, very cheeky. That's a good way to describe it. God's Game We Play, I'm caught up on. Viral Hits, I'm caught up on.
I haven't even heard of that one. God damn it.
The Viral Hit,
Yeah.
that's like a Korean one.
Okay, that's
So
why.
basically what happens is this kid, he's getting bullied every day, and like he ends up getting into the fight with the dude that's like recording the bully stuff, and it gets recorded and it goes viral. And so now like they're kind of teaming up to do viral videos.
I did see a preview of that
Okay,
one.
okay.
I did see a preview of that one.
Yeah, and this season, it's kind of like a weird pace.
It's cool.
Like now Demon Slayer just debuted. My Hero, of course, just debuted last
Yeah.
week. So it's like a little bit catching up again. It's like, oh, guys.
Yeah. I haven't watched my Demon Slayer yet, but that I'm definitely going to watch that. Netflix, I'm watching Delicious in Dungeon,
Yes.
and I'm watching the Grim Variations.
Yeah. I'll check that. I'll check
How
that.
was that one?
Variations. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, they're taking the stories and going in a completely different direction. It's kind of like Star Wars Visions with Grimm, the brothers Grimm.
Oh, okay.
And one golden egg we haven't talked about, and we don't have to get into it because once it's done, I understand. Bushko Tensei.
But we're watching that too.
Yeah,
We're watching that too. Ooh,
I know.
we'll get into that.
We'll wait. That one we need.
That you know what? I'm actually watching that on Hulu.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not like I haven't gotten to that
Fair,
one
fair.
yet. But I am watching that. Hulu, I'm watching a few titles on there. I'm watching that.
Go-Go
I'm
Rangers
watching
on
Go
there.
Go Loser Ranger, which
There
is
we
a Hulu exclusive. I'm watching the Fable.
Is it like the video game?
Huh?
Is Fable like the video game?
No. So the Fable, this dude, he's a hitman, and like
You're watching a lot.
I'm watching like 10. I'm watching a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're only like scratching the surface too. And you caught up with
No,
half.
he's
No, I'm caught up
watching-
on all these.
Yeah.
all of them.
I'm caught up on all these. I have had a little time on my hands,
I was.
but I'm caught up on all of them. So the Fable, this dude is a hitman, and
It's that picture. I've seen the
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, his boss kind of tells him,
his boss
it's
says,
like-
stop. You need to
they've
stop
killed-
killing.
They've killed too many people this year, so he's like, you need to take a year off.
For first impression, it reminds me of Go Girl 17. If you remember that show.
No.
It's an older.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fine show.
Okay, I'll definitely check that.
Mission Yozakura Family. That's a Hulu exclusive
How
as
about
well.
Windbreaker? We haven't talked about. Windbreaker.
I haven't watched Windbreaker.
Okay.
So Mission Yozakura
We also
Family.
haven't talked about Kaiju number 8.
I've only seen the first.
I
episode.
mentioned I'm watching that. Mission Yozakura Family it's a good show. It's kind of like if you need to like scratch the itch of Spy Family, it kind of does that a little bit. So basically, this kid, his parents die in a car accident, and so like he's staying by himself. I think.
Okay.
This is very well. That's a weird thing. But anyways, the only person that like ever since then he doesn't get close to anybody. The only person that he like really talks to is his childhood best friend, who turns out to be this girl that's like the heir to this family of spies. In the first episode, like the brother of the girl wants to kill the main character because he's like getting close to her, and he's like, no, you can't get close to our queen, I'm going to kill you. So she's like, the only way that like he can not hurt you is like if we get married. So, like, because we don't kill each other, and so they get married, and now he's married into this family of spies, and they're like training him to be a spy.
Okay.
It's a nice little show. It's a nice little comfort watch.
Saw the trailer for that one. I haven't checked that one out.
It's all right. It's cool. That's a Hulu exclusive. And then the other Hulu I'm watching is
Which one was that we talked about the boy working in the bookstore? Something Disappearances.
Oh, Mysterious Disappearances.
Yeah, that was interesting.
At least the first episode.
Oh yeah. I haven't watched that one yet. That's on my list, but I haven't watched it yet.
One I like, and it's like one I'm like, I want to binge through it. Astro Note.
That one's really strange.
Yeah.
Like really like so.
Most offbeat comedy in a while, in my own opinion.
And it's funny.
Yeah. It's legit funny.
Yeah, like I was surprised watching the art style. I didn't think that this was going to be funny, but like that was legitimately funny. Like I had moments where I'm laughing, and then realizing that the dog is an alien too was kind of funny, because it's like, oh wait, there's actually like there's an alien subplot because she's an alien princess and the dog can talk. And so like when you realize that, you're like, what is this show? So how do you guys feel about Kaiju number 8?
The first episode is pretty cool.
I like it. I mean, I read the first volume.
Yeah.
So like I was looking forward to it, and they stuck to it pretty well. It gives you that shonen vibe. It's a very shonen-esque show, but it's not kids.
No.
They're adults. So
Yeah.
it kind of like
Well, he's an adult.
Yeah, he's an adult.
He's an adult, which is I think like kind of like a switch on the regular.
Yes.
Like yeah.
And he was originally supposed to be a utility man, cleaning up the messes after the kaiju die.
Yeah.
Well, him and his, again, childhood friend, they made that pact that they were going to be part of the defense force, but he could never cut it.
Almost like it wasn't like quitting on his dreams, but he's like, okay, maybe I'm not as good as I thought it was. It happens. That's life.
Well, he's not. Yeah, he's just. Well, compared to this batch, he's like way under par.
Yeah.
Like this is like the
top
like,
tier.
Yeah, like you want to talk about the draft.
Yeah.
This is like the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And then talk about your star.
Right.
What's her name?
Caitlin Clark.
Oh no, but
on the
The Tiger
in the
Girl.
show,
Tiger Girl.
it's not Mina.
Voiced by Raftelia SVA.
yeah, she's
Whatever her name is. But yeah. She's like cream of the crop.
Yeah, she's the
top
star.
dog.
So I can see why he's been dropped a bunch of times, because going into this, I'm like, these are like heavy hitters, like these schools and
like they say that this is one of the best crop that they've ever had.
Yeah,
of talent.
and so he falls into this, and it's like, how are you going to compete? And so far, they're like, well, I like how the lieutenant is like playing it off as like he's going to keep this guy as comic relief. But really, he's like suspicious that something's going on.
Yeah, plus he's technically
But he also did see talent in him, because he was like, all right, well, I know I can't do this, but we can assist. And because he's part of the cleanup crew, he knows so much about kaiju.
Yeah.
He's like, no, aim for the stomach because it's weak. And so he's been able to assist them. And the lieutenant really saw that. He was like,
almost
this is a
dissecting
good
him.
guy to have.
Yeah.
Because he may not be able to do the duties, but he's a valuable asset to the people on the team.
He's Donnie.
Yeah. And he's comic relief. But like you said, he is somebody that, like, from the beginning, he's like, there's something wrong with this dude.
Yeah.
There's something very suspicious about this guy.
Yeah, and I love the introduction of he's the human form. He's a human that's taken kaiju form.
Yes.
But then you have the kaiju that's taking human form.
Yes.
And so it's that good, like, you can see that rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
like
Sukuna. Yeah.
Yuji Sukuna. Because he ends up swallowing a kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's very similar to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a finger instead of kaiju
in general.
Yeah.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
So it's very, but it's a good show. It's gonna get a lot of praise. I would not be surprised if it's a contender for anime of the year.
Yeah, reading that first volume, I knew. It's like it hit me the same way that Jujutsu Kaisen hit me.
Let me double check my anime corner because I haven't checked the rankings in 2 or 3 weeks. Because Go-Go Power Ranger is like the only one I'm like, where did that come from?
Go Loser Ranger.
Yeah. At the moment, Konosuba is number 1. Data Life.
That's not surprising with with people who watch anime.
It's
that's not surprising.
high
at
in
all.
the fandom.
Data Life. Yeah.
That's not surprising. either.
Number 3, Tensei. Number 4, Windbreaker. Number 5, Go-Go Loser Ranger. Number 6, Demon Slayer for the first episode. Not good. 7, Delicious in Dungeon. This one. I forgot about to mention this one. This one was definitely my second biggest surprise. Number 8 is Archdemon's Dilemma: How to Love Your Elf Bride. I like it.
I get why you would like
watched that
it.
one?
At least 4 episodes.
Oh, see, you've watched more than you've said.
Bitch.
No, because
It's like a vortex.
No, that's cool. Because before you were like, I haven't watched anything but Spice and Wolf, so I don't have anything. So I'm just shocked because you said that you didn't watch anything, and you're like, no, I watched 4 episodes. You watched more than I thought.
Yeah. It's like a weird testing ground kind of thing. But this one, it was like a natural, like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'll watch the next episode. I'm skipping weeks now. That way I can watch 2 in a row or 3 in a row.
No, I get that. Yeah, I do that.
So that's number 8 at the moment. So, hey, it's steady. And number 9, season 7, My Hero. I have to finish the rest of. I have to catch up. There's already 2 or 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. And Chillin' in Another World with level 2 super cheat powers. Have you caught that one, Edwin?
I had that on my queue, but I didn't watch it.
I haven't watched it.
All right. So there you go. That's the tie at the moment.
At first, I thought it
Really?
was like.
For Anime Corner.
Okay.
I was like, is this a continuation of Chilling in My 30s?
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah?
it's a similar title.
It confused me, but because I'm like, why would you have another Chilling in My 30s? But then I'm like, oh, okay.
And plus level 2, you're thinking like season 2?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the continuation of that? I'm like, maybe I'll watch it. But then I'm reading, I'm like, this doesn't sound like that show. It's a totally different show. I said, because, like, I added it to my queue, but, like, I got mad because it wasn't what I thought it was, and for that, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no shame.
I didn't watch it yet. But I got like 10 shows under my belt, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that in there.
That's the thing. And
because I have more like.
We're technically in the midway
shows,
point, and we mentioned how it's technically our catch up, but it's also like, but I want to give room for Kaiju. I want to give room for Elf Bride, things like that.
Yeah, see,
Unnamed
like
Memory, I think, is better than these shows, most of these shows.
Unnamed Memory is on my list, but I haven't watched it yet. But the Odd Taxi thing, I haven't watched it.
I like the first 2, the third episode.
I completely forgot that it was out.
It was hard to find.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't find it on
because it's technically called Roots.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm typing in Odd Taxi, and then I'm like, where's this at? And it's like, I'll finish that, but I haven't started it yet. Monsters on my list.
That as well. That one's been in a top 10 here and there.
Raven of the Inner Palace or whatever.
This
that
season
was on
2?
My list.
Oh no, that was from prior. There's season
prior.
2. Yeah.
This is stuff I think he wants to watch.
Oh,
yeah, this is
You're
stuff
okay.
that I want to
My
watch,
mistake,
but I
my
haven't
mistake.
done it yet. Yeah, but that's
but it's
an
not
older
this
show.
season. Yeah.
That's
Gotcha.
not this season.
Definitely recommended, especially for Pack the Carry.
Condition Called Love.
I seen the first episode.
I had on my list, but I haven't
watched
it yet.
4, and the guy just got so. It got so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not uncomfortable, but like. There are so many better shows
Yeah.
that I've watched recently.
It's a little bit too reserved for my liking at the moment.
I get that, but
Because
it's
they're officially official, but it's like, what are you doing at this point?
And Mysterious, what is it? Mysterious Disappearances or whatever. That's another one that's on my list.
That
but I
one's a
haven't
hit or
gotten around
miss,
start
to be
yet.
honest. If you don't like the first or second episode, by all means.
Okay.
Because I'm okay. But I'm like, it's not hitting.
You're not sure if you're going to continue with
even
it.
what I've seen so far.
So I mean, you know what? Thus far in this season, what would you think? How do you think about it? Because I know coming into this season, we were like, this is a heavy hitter season. But to me, it's been a little disappointing.
well, the heavy hitters haven't like
Delivered.
They haven't knocked it out of the park for me, like at all. They've been very like,
I agree.
even Laid Back Camp, I haven't been able to get into.
There's another one, yeah.
Yeah, it's season 3.
So like, there's everything that you could want to watch. Like I think what happened was they gave you too much. And I don't think any of the shows have lived up to the hype of their previous seasons.
I agree.
Yet. I don't know if like later on they might. Like Slime might knock it out of the park and blow our minds. We don't know yet. But as so far, it hasn't. And with the other shows, with the newer shows that aren't follow-up sequels or like something else, there hasn't been anything where I'm like, oh, I got to watch that week after week.
Yeah.
Some shows I've watched and I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching this? Like, especially with some of the isekai this season, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to keep watching this because they're going straight for the harem. I'm like, I thought I was going to get some kind of like meat or like some kind of depth, and it's just not there.
So we'll see how this season plays out, man. Just give us a few more weeks and we'll hit y'all with our seasonal catch up. But thus far, we're looking a little.
Thank you for listening in to another great 950 Club session. This is part 1 of our spring 2024 catch up. And yeah, this is no joke. We caught up with a lot of stuff, and this is going to be a few parts, if I'm not mistaken. And I have to be honest, our last 2 recording sessions accumulated about 8 hours worth. So I'm going to do my best to break it down, and I'm going to make sure that we're going to get these episodes in order, because we're trying to do some new things with TikTok and McClock. And yeah, if you haven't seen our TikTok page, just check in with our Linktree page. And yes, partially why we had this delay in the season is Jamaal had a baby, and her name is Marley. So once again, we'd like to thank Marley for coming into the world and being the bright and joy for Christina and Jamaal. So we like to thank them as well. And they just moved into a new place as well. So yeah, it's totally awesome the last couple months with them and seeing them grow more and more. And just like this podcast, sometimes you just have to grow and grow and grow, especially with the anime. Because now it's here, and it's here to stay. There are factors, there are things at play, but also let's just be casual with it. We don't have to be overwhelmed anymore with this awesome medium. So once again, thank you, dear listener. Once again, please like, subscribe, download and share, and comment, and just have fun with the anime. Thank you once again, and goodbye.